Hey, welcome to CopyCat Fragrance. Thanks for tuning in for this video. I'm David, and today we are talking about a clone, a follow-on from one of my earlier videos, which you can look back and see. A company called CopyCat Fragrance, based in the UK, a range of about 20 fragrances, copying the DNA of some of the most niche fragrances available. The other video I've recorded recently talks about their copy of Creed Aventus, the current king from 2010 onwards of one of the kind of the most popular niche fragrances. Today, we're talking about one of the kings of niche fragrances, Tom Ford. Oh, Oud Wood. So opulent. So, I love Oud Wood. Everyone loves Oud Wood. It's one of those fragrances, if you walk through an airport, if you walk through a store, you can guarantee if it's Tom Ford, private blend, they'll have them there, and Oud Wood will be one of the most popular. Flying through Heathrow, it is one of the things that most people, when they're going through, pick up, and they're not going to buy it, but they're going to use Oud Wood for a little bit of a spritz whilst they're trying fragrances. I love Oud Wood. However, sometimes through need, sometimes through greed, fragrances are reformulated. Sometimes it's just we can water it down and still sell it. Sometimes it is certain chemicals, certain molecules of fragrance. Unfortunately, the regulations around what you can use in perfumes change because of the European Union wants to try and protect customers from chemicals that could be harmful. I get it, but it does mean things get weaker. And Oud Wood is one of those things that I believe is not as strong, it's not as powerful, it doesn't have the projection and the longevity that it did when it first came out. And so spending £150, £200 for 100 ml of a fragrance that for me doesn't last is not ideal, and I know that lots of people just don't have that money. And so we get to CopyCat Fragrance. They are, like I say, copying about 20 fragrances at the moment. A lot of Tom Ford, a lot of Creed, a couple of other niche scents in there as well. And Oud Wood was the second of the samples that I tried, and I'm quite impressed. This was sprayed about 10 minutes ago. This is my little 5 ml that came as part of the sample pack. The Brazilian rosewood that makes that kind of really rich, warm, spicy woodiness is definitely there. The cardamom and Szechuan pepper that you associate with Oud Wood blended really nicely. It feels warm, it feels woody, it feels spicy. It's blended nicely. There's no like overburdening scent. The one thing I would say is that if you smell Tom Ford Oud Wood when you're in a department store, or if you get the chance to smell from the bottle, Oud Wood still has, from the bottle in the first spray, this huge, room-filling, almost overpowering sillage and projection for a couple of minutes. And if you just pick up the bottle and smell from the atomizer, it is such a big scent. This doesn't have that huge projection opening when you smell it. It smells nice. It smells of Oud Wood. It smells of that oud and that rosewood and the cardamom and the Szechuan pepper mixed together. There's that tonka and a little bit of vanilla that comes through as it dries down. But this doesn't have the sillage and projection of a bottle of Oud Wood. With that said, this definitely has better longevity for me than actual Oud Wood. I spray Oud Wood when I want to just have a smell of it, when I demo it, when I tested it. I've had little decants. And after 2 or 3 hours, I find that it's got to a very, very, very nice, but a very weak skin scent. The projection goes, it lasts on my clothing, but certainly on my skin, it doesn't last anywhere near as long as I would have hoped for a scent that I love so much and a scent that costs so much. Using this, I've worn it 2 times at work to get a kind of a sense of how it actually performs in the real world. Certainly 5 or 6 hours of Oud Wood, and then it starts to really disappear. So it's not killer beast projection. Lots of people, claiming, oh, CopyCat Fragrance and others like Perfume Parlor, they last so much longer than the original. I can wear them for 2 days, 1 spray, and it lasts. No. This will, after 4 or 5 hours, 6 hours at a push, start to disappear from your skin. But compared to how Oud Wood performs on my skin, the original, that's an improvement. So it's definitely a well-blended scent, and one that's using good enough ingredients and good molecules that they do last, and a nice concentration of perfume oil. The dry down, very, very similar. It's Oud Wood. It's unmistakably Oud Wood. If you put it side by side, once that big, powerful opening of the original Tom Ford Oud Wood had died away, you would be very hard pressed to say this was different. I think that's because, particularly for the Oud Wood, the quality of blending of this one is really good. There are no sharp edges. It's nice, it's rich, it's warm. You don't smell it and feel that one of the parts of the scent is overpowering. And so in that sense, hats off to CopyCat, because this is one of the better clone blends that I smell in terms of the quality of blending. Not only does it smell vaguely like what it's meant to, it smells like it's well put together. It's balanced. It's really nice in that way. $44.95, I believe, is the 100ml cost. And that versus the real thing is a bargain. Maybe slightly more than the Creed Aventus clone they have executive. I think this is actually a better clone than their Aventus clone. And for that reason, if we were scaling it on my score of 1 in the bin, 10 I'm buying 2 bottles at the same time, I would put this probably somewhere around an 8 to an 8.5. I wish the projection was a bit bigger. It's not as room filling as the original is, like I say, but for the price and the quality of blending, plus that slightly better longevity that I've experienced compared to the original, definitely an 8 to 8.5, really worth having a look at. I prefer this a little bit to Perfume Parlors. I think Perfume Parlors is a little bit too spicy, a little too cardamom, too much pepper. This one's got a really nice blend, a little bit more of that woody scent you would hope to have in Oud Wood. So, CopyCat Fragrances, I'll pop the link below. Definitely worth looking at that Oud Wood, having worn it for a couple of times. It's got a few compliments. Not a massive compliment getter, but for me, and I wear scents for me more than anyone else, really nicely done, really good clone, good quality blending, good ingredients, and a good percentage of oil. So I certainly definitely feel good wearing this, and hopefully you will too. Do hit subscribe, like I say, follow me on Instagram, you'll get all my latest updates, and hit that notification button and the bell. Get all the updates as soon as they publish on the YouTube. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for taking the time out of your day. And I hope that you carry on smelling good and feeling good for the rest of your day too.